All right, what's up? So, this week I'm working on writing a movie, which is really like this month. It's not just a this week thing because that would be very ambitious and unfortunately I don't have the time. However, I am trying to get through at least like the outline this week, which I think is pretty doable. The issue is I struggle a lot with writing, and I think a lot of people struggle with writing because it's easier to like get out my camera and go like film a YouTube video that's very on the fly, and like there's a lot quicker external validation that comes from a YouTube video than there is from writing a feature film script. So doing that requires kind of just like diligence, and it is not fun, which kind of blows. I think it was Taika Waititi, actually I know it was Taika Waititi, but he said something along the lines of sometimes writing is opening up your laptop and staring at a blank page in Final Draft for 8 hours and then getting sad and closing your laptop, and that still counts as writing. And I think that's a very relatable statement for a lot of us because it truly feels that way sometimes. So this week I'm trying to be a little bit better about that, putting in time to make sure that I'm writing, making sure that I'm sitting down at my computer writing things out. And how I'm trying to combat that in particular is by not having a blank page and instead starting with anything else really. So before I got started writing, I started compiling just a list of a bunch of funny things and serious things and great memories and horrible memories and all kinds of stuff from kind of my childhood and like road trips, family trips, camping trips, like all kinds of different scenarios that I thought would be funny or interesting in a movie that would play out very nicely in a movie. People always say, write from what you know, and I figured I might as well just like make a big bank of things that I know, things that were my experiences or people very close to me's experiences. So once I had that list of experiences, mishaps, trips, whatever, I started kind of thinking about like what is the story that could kind of tie all these together, or what's a story that would make sense that I could kind of weave a couple of these things in there. And so I kind of worked on that for a couple days, just like a very, very loose, the 2-sentence, like these characters doing this thing, you know, like very, very blanket statement movie. I did that a couple days ago, and now I'm trying to use a method that I've kind of used before, but I learned from David Lynch.
Then I met Frank Danielle, and he taught you get yourself a pack of 3x5 cards, and you write a scene on each card. And when you have 70 scenes, you have a feature film. So on each card, you write the heading of the scene, and then the next card, the second scene, the third scene, fourth scene. So you have 70 cards, each with the name of the scene. Then you flesh out each of the cards and walk away. You got a script.
So I don't use note cards because almost everything that I do is digital, and I live in a small apartment, so having just like note cards flying around the house would stress me and my wife out probably. So instead, I do like numbered lists in a Word doc. And I do it in the exact same doc as that list of things, the like story outline or story synopsis, I should say. It even has like some references in there, like anything to make it not a blank page. That's where I do everything. And so I start with literally like the heading and what that scene is, right? And then I hit enter, and then I have the next scene. And I just kind of do that from as little as like one sentence to as much as like a paragraph, sometimes even like lines of dialogue back and forth. It's not full-fledged scenes by any means. It's enough that I can remember what that scene is, so that once I have 70, 80, 90 scenes, I can go back and write those scenes more specifically. And then whenever I get stuck, what's really great is I can look back at other things in that doc. I don't have to switch tabs which is always dangerous when you're writing, because I don't know about you, but I'm always like, oh, let's check Instagram, I'm opening new tabs, let's check YouTube, let's check stats, let's go watch a video about how to write better. And then I never end up writing. So keeping it all in one doc kind of limits me, where I just like, I don't ever leave that page. So I've been just looking back up there. I find like, oh, that's a funny thing, and I'll copy that and paste it as like its own scene. And it doesn't have to be the next scene. It can be somewhere farther down, hit enter a couple times. And then I have, 4 or 5 scenes in between that I can fill in the gaps of like, how do I get from my last scene that I fully wrote to like this funny thing that happened to me in my real life. And that so far has been honestly really helpful. I started today with like maybe 10 scenes in place, and I ended with like 23, 24, I think, which is pretty great because that's like 15 minutes at least of screen time, and the goal is like a 90-minute movie, maybe a little longer, 2 hours max kind of thing. So right now I'm very much in the like, just write, just get something on the page, we can edit it later. But I'd rather kind of get like a dirty outline, get as much as possible in that, and then move on to the actual scripting. And this movie I'll probably end up doing significantly more of a scriptment than an actual script. Look up James Cameron talking about scriptments if you don't know what that is, because it's, in between a treatment and a script. And he's used them for some of his biggest movies, which is crazy. But this movie, because it's so real life, I kind of want it to feel a little less scripted. And I think that'll probably be beneficial for the way that I'm thinking about shooting it. So overall, a win for today. We'll see how I do tomorrow, but the goal is to kind of at least have a general outline by the end of the week. And then we can start writing it, like next week, is the hope. Or at least like editing the outline. I don't really know. But small wins, small goals. We're gonna make a movie.